We're fine. That's fine. Hit record on there.
I'll be good. Okay.
All right. 3, 2, 1.
What up, though? We got First Amendment Podcast.
Got Napoleon over here.
Chris KK 2 times.
Over there. And we got two special guests.
What up?
All right.
Ryan Nintendo. Let's do it.
Nintendo.
Hey.
We're doing like a kind of like a Jimmy Timmy Power Hour over here. So we got two podcasts coming together.
What's the name of your podcast?
The Chop Up.
Chop up. Just chopping it up. So tell the people, what y'all do on y'all podcast. What's it about?
Honestly, it's just like we just chop it up. We like to talk and learn through conversation. We like to explore areas of our interests as well as like things that we talk about just amongst ourselves and our friends. So really, it's just a place where we can just chop it up and learn about the fucking crazy ass world out there.
Okay.
I mean, what would you say, Brian?
I mean, just some background on us, how it started. Nintendo and I would meet up. We would talk at the coffee shop once a week just about politics and current events and whatnot. And then one thing led to another. And now we've been podcasting we're like 30 episodes in.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting up there. We're moving along.
Yeah, man, but that's the short story of us.
That's dope, man. That's kind of like pretty much how ours started, but not so much.
It's similar.
Yeah. We like almost 30 in.
Yeah.
Just about.
That's what's up.
Now this would be like episode 29, 28, something
We're
like
on
that.
to the next 10 to get 30.
Yeah. Did you want to do that one thing, or you want to just go into the go?
The one thing with the we might as well just break the ice.
Alright.
One thing.
So we gonna break the ice with a little
How well do you know your podcaster co-host?
yeah. So this is basically what we're gonna do. It's like that famous game that I forgot.
You shouldn't have given them no paper. They might as well just talk.
Low key,
because that's-
Andre, I feel like you always got like notebooks and paper.
Oh,
all these videos that I watch.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I don't ever see you like write shit down.
Oh,
Just
no.
like, you have fucking materials always by you.
Yeah,
You got the
always
water
ready.
jug.
Uh-huh.
You got fucking a notebook.
Yeah, this is
That's his merch.
This is our like it's not a script.
There's nothing written down on that.
No, it is. You see? Look, this is the episode. That's the episode.
That's his.
These are all the
Those
episodes.
are like some notes from like 9th grade, bro.
That's the method. That's the method to his madness.
It's all fake, y'all.
This is how it's
You
made.
shouldn't have written on no paper though, because you don't have no pen.
Those aren't even words.
Oh.
I'm trying to say.
Just scribble it on paper.
Nah, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I knew you didn't have a pen.
No, I do have pens because I watch myself grab them.
I'm telling you. Yeah.
All right, come on, Andre.
Oh,
What
there's
you
a-
to do.
Uh,
You gotta go find it. You gotta go
Oh,
find it.
God.
It's good.
Huh?
I swear I had a pen.
All right, okay, we gotta improvise, man.
Yeah.
It doesn't work without pens. So
let me go get that pen right there.
you see it?
I got it, man.
Those are the pens. Those are the pens that I watch.
I knew,
myself
but
grab.
I was watching them on the table, so I knew.
And you didn't say anything.
That's why I said they don't need pens.
Chris just didn't want to get up and go get it.
Alright, so look, this is what
I'm
we're
not
going
going
He
over
saw
that.
he booked him in the first like 2 seconds. He was like, I see him.
Alright, so here's a pen for you. Let me make sure this pen
All
works.
right, man.
Perfect. Alright, so the first thing you're going to write.
Can I write on that notebook?
Yes, you may. You're going to write. Just don't read the. Alright.
I'm not reading anything.
Well, I guess you could. But alright, so.
Wait, you don't even know the questions.
I know the first one.
Oh, dude, I mean, bro, it's straight.
Alright. So the first question y'all going to.
You got it?
Yeah, the first question y'all going to try to guess about your partner is. What is one of y'all favorite rappers? Like, what's his favorite rapper? What's his favorite rapper?
Right
it
now
down.
of all time.
And then also write who it is, just like
Like who-
that one game.
Who I think my favorite rapper is?
Know who you know your favorite rapper
Alright,
is. And
so-
then you gotta
so-
guess
Ezra.
his favorite rapper.
So
So
now I'm writing my favorite rapper.
Right,
Right.
your
And
favorite
you're
rapper
writing
slash
his-
his favorite rapper.
his-
And I'm writing his.
But you got make sure you put a circle around yours so you don't
Nah.
get confused.
Wow.
So I'm writing mine, and then I'm writing his.
Yes.
I'm circling mine.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So that's cool. Are we doing strictly rapping, or are we doing like them as a rap icon kind of? Because
That shit's different, man.
Yeah,
Like,
make
you
it
start
up.
going.
Yeah.
Alright, so if
Who's
if-
favorite
alright,
rapper, bro?
So strictly artistry.
Strictly artistry.
Yeah, bro.
Strictly artistry.
Yeah, I don't know what you meant.
For sure.
Wait. I feel like we should get the paper back because
What you mean?
we got all the
So
questions.
we gotta
Alright,
write
I
answers
will.
and turn in our.
Yeah,
Turn that
and then
aside.
it'll show it. Yeah.
Alright,
So write it
alright,
down.
let's do it.
Alright.
We can only do 3.
That was from
one's
Jeopardy.
free, but that's 2 different games.
No, it's not.
It's tough. What makes this hard is because Tendo loves everybody.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so the way I'm answering this shit is if I went and like looked through your, like iTunes or whatever, like Tidal or whatever playlist, like, who would I like expect to see the most of?
That's a good way to put it.
That's real.
Alright. 5 more seconds on the clock.
Man, I don't know. Alright. I would say.
And let's see it.
Dre, you read his out. I'll read his.
Okay.
I honestly don't expect you to get this one, man. Because it's like
and you're not gonna get mine.
So, matter of fact, this how who's your favorite artist?
Kendrick.
So that's his.
That's it.
You put Kendrick.
You put Kendrick?
I got you, bro.
This is a toss up right now.
And I know you would get mine.
Alright, so who's your favorite artist?
Mine was Eminem because it's just close to me.
Would you?
That makes sense, but I put down Drake.
Okay. Alright, that's.
Because you know what? In the light of recent events, you know,
Change my mood. Nah, I mean Eminem.
blackface changes stuff. I don't know. Like, what do y'all think about that?
Yeah, what do you guys think about that?
What?
Drake with
Drake's
his
blackface.
blackface, putting on the blackface. Have you seen that with the?
Yeah. I guess the only problem with it is him trying to defend it because like he never said nothing after that about like any specific black issues. So it's just kind of like.
I mean, he did. He'd make a post like how he did with the. He put it on his Instagram story.
What?
Yeah, he talked about it for a little
He talked about what he did on his Instagram story, but like with a lot of police brutality, like he'd make a statement like we can't continue to do such as like he'd speak on certain issues. It's not like verbally, but
right.
with his platform, he would definitely utilize that.
Okay, that's good.
And what he said on his Insta story was what was going on at the time because he started off as an actor is a lot of black people wasn't getting roles. Do we know if it's true or not? I don't know.
Man, we know that shit's true. Like we had the hashtag Oscars is so white. Like
yeah, and that's what I'm saying. So I'm not gonna lie though, but Drake can do no wrong in my eyes. So that's what he said. That's what the fuck it is. Like, who am I to say that this isn't true?
I mean, I've seen both sides of that too. I've seen people who love Drake no matter what. I think he could kill somebody and they wouldn't care. Like
I
they
would
love
murder
him.
somebody too.
And then I've seen the other side. It's like no matter what Drake does, they're not gonna like him.
Yeah.
You know, this man could have, you know, the best album this other people have ever heard, but it doesn't matter. They're still not gonna like him.
Yeah.
You know, so it's
You can't win
I've
for
seen both
losing. Like
sides.
it's I feel like, but at the same time, once you get up to that top, like people gonna hate regardless.
Yeah.
Like literally, there's nothing you can do to make everybody just fuck with it. Even if like the one thing that made me realize that people gonna hate regardless. I seen this one video of this little girl dancing in the subway.
Yeah.
The shit was like the happiest video I ever seen. Like she just like dancing, everybody around it like just having a good time with her. And there's dislikes and there's people talking shit in the video. Like I
That
mean,
bitch can't dance. Like,
yeah, like,
she's a kid. What?
Yeah, it's just like unnecessary
man.
shit. Like people just hate their lives so much that they gotta find wrong
That's
with
real.
something for no reason.
That's real.
So yeah.
I
So
feel
fuck
it.
it.
But we
That's
hijacked
real.
the game.
Oh no, that's cool. So we'll just do one more and get onto it. So
Is there a score? I mean,
No, it was just to break the ice.
yeah.
oh, recognize. Okay.
Yeah.
but you know we'll do one more because it's kind of fun to see. Which one you want to do? You want to do that one?
I can't read that.
Because they're not words.
I don't
No,
know.
it's Eddie.
You know, like in cartoons, they write squiggly line. Like that's what the fuck that look like.
I mean, you can clearly.
Squiggly line.
Alright, we're gonna do this
Fake
one.
Funny because
teeth.
I was looking like that shit really should have worked.
So this next one,
Dick.
this next one is, who is y'all's favorite porn stars?
porn stars. Bruh, I don't know porn
Just-
stars like that, dog.
Pick another one. Pick another one.
Alright.
I'm a feminist and I
Let's
do not
see.
support that. I do not objectify women.
I can't
No.
read it.
God damn it. Alright, let's just do a favorite movie. What's your favorite movie?
Favorite movie?
We gotta make it generic. But it's cool.
It's only because I can't read Dre's handwriting. Because he writes like
I hate it.
12-year-old girl. Third grade.
Okay. Well, my sister had amazing handwriting as a 12-year-old girl. In third grade,
Yeah,
what?
that's what I'm saying. A retarded girl. is what I'm saying.
Let me think.
Took you long enough.
Shut up.
Don't write. I know it's tempting. Don't write Titanic.
Damn,
Is that your
man.
favorite?
No. There's one time I remember Dre was telling me his favorite movie was, what was it?
You're gonna make up a
You
lie.
said
so
Brokeback what?
it's, okay.
Brokeback what?
Fountain.
Fountain.
Yeah.
You're not gonna be able to guess mine.
No, I'm
No,
not.
you're not. So you're just gonna have to take the L. But I'm gonna try for yours.
10 seconds. Boom, 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 boom. Just pull one.
Go for what you know.
No, I'm not done yet. I didn't pick yet.
Oh, okay. You this is for him? You guessing?
You gotta put it down, bruh.
Yeah, come on, man.
Come on, bruh.
I don't even remember if it was you with this conversation.
Oh, that's racist.
What is it, Selma?
I just remember Selma. That's fucked up.
You understand? All right.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
What is your favorite movie?
The Dark Knight.
The Dark Knight.
Yeah, man.
You know what?
No,
It's a good-ass
I put
movie.
American Gangster because we talked about it one time. That's it. Man.
He said he put Amistad.
Oh,
I watched
shit.
that in Mr. Lamorato class.
What?
Oh,
Oh,
so
really?
And we was teasing Max Ojemudia.
You fucked with that shit?
No.
Was he hurt?
No, he just was like,
Yes.
hey,
Hey,
You don't even
what's
gotta
what's your favorite?
Mine was Wedding Crashers.
That's your favorite movie
I love
of
that.
all
are
time?
you judging,
I love that
are you
movie.
judging him right now?
Yeah.
Honestly, I've never seen Wedding Crash.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's
For a
it's
while, I
alright.
used to pretend like I saw it because everybody had seen it.
I mean, like if you really put on like the greatest movies,
Yeah.
you wouldn't put it up.
But
there.
that's your favorite movie.
But for me, it has like nostalgic value to it. It puts me in a good
That's
mood.
fair.
Wait,
yeah,
what
but
did
like
you-
I had
He
I
thought it
forgot
was
about
8
that.
Mile.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because he said Eminem. So I got-
You make it sound like oh, he likes Eminem, bro. That must be his go-to.
Eminem
Yeah,
fan.
that's a good. That's a good guess.
That's a good movie though. I like that. I like that movie too. That's not a bad guess. It's not.
Huh?
It's not a bad guess.
Yeah,
You know, I did.
it's
I
a top
did.
favorite.
Yeah.
Alright, so now we're gonna jump into it, and
Straight into it. We're doing a quote first.
yeah, so we're gonna start over the quote. We used to put it at the end, but now we put it at the beginning, just in case.
Because
people
niggas
don't-
wasn't watching today.
Yeah.
Ass niggas.
Yeah, so
But we trying to give y'all value and ways to look at life. And
Right.
niggas don't want to do that. So
let
We'll do
them
it in
hit
the
them with
beginning.
some wisdom.
So we got Robert, I don't know his last name, so I'm saying
Kawasaki.
Robert K. He just gets Robert K.
Kawasaki.
It's Robert K today. I'm Chris K, this is Robert K. So that's what it is.
Kawasaki.
Anyways, most people avoid failure, but failure is a part of success. So when you avoid failure, in essence, you are avoiding success. That was a quote by Robert K.
Kawasaki.
And
Kawasaki.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Uh,
And I was reading it, and it just like kind of, it hit me with a bomb just because I'm going through I go through peaks and I go through valleys. I'm 24 or whatever, so that's kind of expected at this point in my life. And it's like it's all a part of the process. But in order to get through the process, you have to go through the process, or you know what I'm saying. So don't take no shortcut out. Don't just go through it to get through it. And what he was saying too is like I'm not afraid to fail. So, but like in order to succeed, you can't be afraid to fail because most people will trick themselves out of even succeeding just because it's like, oh well, I possibly might fail. You know what I'm saying? But if you avoid the failure, you do avoid the success.
yeah.
So that's what that meant to me. Then based off what happened with our last quote, with the fight and everything,
Right.
it's like I love your mindset in it that you didn't just oh well I'm fuck boxing or fuck fighting, just it's like, well shit. I asked you what you got up. You like, well I know I would have beat his ass. I did beat his ass, but next time I'm gonna just knock him out. So I'm about to be in the gym way harder.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like you took it to the chin, you just ran with it. Like, all right, it is what it is. I'm gonna just work harder. So that's what it mean to me.
Yeah, I feel it. What it mean to y'all?
You wanna take it?
Go ahead. That's all you.
That's an interesting. That's a dope quote. I mean, is that what you had as a surprise?
No.
He's talking about.
No,
no,
he's
no.
talking about the game because if we knew about the game, then we would talk about.
No,
it.
that wasn't
No, that's still
surprise.
not the surprise.
Oh shit.
Oh, it's still not a
All
surprise.
right, so that's a
Alright, okay.
it's a dope topic. So I was at Dre's last fight,
Oh, is it?
and yeah, and honestly, man, like it seemed like you did enough because you took him down a couple times, but like it just sucks because like it just didn't shake out the way that you
Right.
normally would expect it to. And thinking about like it's hard because as soon as you know you lost or you didn't accomplish what you accomplished, that's the moment where it's the hardest to examine your view on what you're doing at that moment, whatever it might be. But that's also the moment where you're most likely to make a breakthrough.
Right.
I've been thinking a lot about breakthroughs and getting to that next level, and a lot of it comes down to what I think is breaking assumptions. You have a breakthrough by breaking assumptions. Like, we don't even actually think about like, what that shit actually means, or at least I don't. And so when I think about breakthroughs and breaking assumptions, it's the moment you lose. That's when it's like, shit, I thought I had a good game plan, but it didn't like amount to what I need to get to.
Right.
And so that's the time where it's like, all right, man, now I could really like bounce back and come back harder, because now I'm forced to take a look at myself. And that's supposed to go on every day in practice and all that shit, but you're forced into that necessary space where it's like, all right, now I gotta level up. But if you think about it, you kind of picking on you in this situation. If you had won, do you think you would be going as hard in the gym as you are right now?
And that's one reason why. Like, our last quote was, you learn more from your failures than you do from your successes. Yeah. And I was saying, like, because the fight before that, I knocked the dude out in 35 seconds.
Yeah.
So there was nothing that anybody could have said to say, oh, this is what you need to do to knock him out in 25 seconds. Like, from there, it's just celebration. You feel me? But it still go back to the gym, but it's a lot of gloating. It's a lot of, there's nothing my coaches could have said, work on this from.
Yeah.
But from that, it was a 5-round fight. There's something that you can pick out from every single round that I could have done different. There's so much that I could improve on just from that 5 rounds and then from the result being a loss. Like, there's so much that I know I need to work on.
And that's good, you know, when you have those moments where, you know, those golden moments, in my opinion.
Right.
You know, where, what are you going to do in that moment? You know, you take a L. How are you going to react?
Right.
You know, are you going to act like a bitch and cry? You know, or are you going to do something? Man? I mean, that's really what it comes down to, and that makes or breaks so many people. And I'm low-key, you might take like 6 L's before you get the next W, maybe. Not putting that on it. But I'm just saying. I'm saying, like, as the competition improves, you know, like you might those crazy things happen. You know?
And kind of speaking on that shit too, like 6 more L's, but it doesn't necessarily have to be in the ring.
Right.
That's right. Like, you think about it, those L's could be in the in practice.
Yeah.
And we gotta take a quick side note. Why the fuck do you fight so many people that are bigger than you like that?
Because
these things are huge, dog. I was sitting there like, this is just not fair. What? Well, and you almost like beat his ass. Like, it could have been argued that way.
Right.
So
I think he beat his ass, honestly.
It was alright. So look, I fought at 125. So I'm stocky.
Yeah.
Everybody that can make 125 that's not stocky is tall and skinny. And that's just
like the weight.
So nobody my height that's not stocky is going to be 125.
Do you have to stay like? Is this just your natural build? Or
No. Like after weigh-ins, I'll probably shoot up to like 135, 138. But yeah. So I walk around at 135, 138. I just make 125 for the fight.
Yeah.
But the fight before that, I was 135. I ain't had to do no type of dieting, no type of weight cutting. I ate like 3 meals the day before and drank like a gallon of water.
So you were good.
Yeah, so I was good. But yes, but if I was to fight at 135, there'll be people that's 155, 160, cutting down to 135, and then that day of the fight will be at 155.
Okay.
So I'll be fighting.
So you're already like going down.
Right. So I have to do the same thing. And that it's just a trickle down effect. Like, one person starting it and another person doing it, so it's just like now it's like that's just how it is. Like, a lot of people ask like, why do y'all do that? But it's like, I don't have a choice anymore.
That's real. And so one thing, kind of continuing off of this whole like failures and finding like success in these failures. Failures is kind of realizing when you're making progress.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's hard to measure success, especially when you start moving away from sports and it's less measurable. It's hard to understand when you're actually moving forward. And so I've also been thinking a lot about like, how do I evaluate when I'm making progress in these arbitrary spaces? And I've kind of like, right now I'm playing around with this idea of, you know, when you like have an idea of like, what if I did this or what if I did that, and it seems so subtle and blasé, but when you actually think about the like what that can cause, just a simple idea, that's some powerful shit. So to give like a more concrete example, it's like if you're sitting around trying to figure out how to present something this like a specific way at work or whatever, right? Or you're trying to figure out how to land a specific combination, but it's just not hitting the way you want it to actually hit. You could, like, the way I evaluate progress is first I just fucking dump as much shit as I can in my like head around that area or that subject, and then I'll look and say, all right, well, I just gotta trust the process. And when I trust the process, you start realizing that, and when you actually trust the process and pay attention, you start realizing like you get specific ideas of like new ways to approach that same topic. It's like, it goes back to what you said when you Chris on the chop up, when you said there's different ways to get to 5. You can, you know, subtract 2 from 7. You could add 2 to 3. And I think the hard part is not actually adding or subtracting or whatever to get to that final point, but it's understanding what you need to add or subtract to get to that final point.
Right, and you saying that's what progress is to you?
That's what progress is to me, is thinking of new ways to approach
being
that specific problem.
Yeah,
like, what if I like subtracted this to get to this number? But like in a real world example, what if I said what I was about to present and gave an overview at the start of my presentation instead of just getting right into it?
Right.
You guys said some shit too. What if we move the quote of the day up earlier in the podcast? Like, to me, that's progress, because now you have something to compare, and now you have contrast, and you can say, well, when we did it this way, that worked better than when we did it this way. And I think like a big part of that is just making sure that we're constantly doing those checks and evaluating, but then understanding that when you fail at something, you're forced to ask those questions. When you might not ask those simple questions or pay attention to them, when you only have victories. And so,
I mean, and there's a lot of times when you're venturing into something that maybe not everybody's doing, or you're doing something different. You know, there's a path that isn't exactly laid out for you, right? So you can't necessarily take the same steps as everybody else. So it's not like school, right? You're not getting a grade. No one's directly holding your hand through that process. You have to go your own way. And so I think something that's really important when you're going down that path is personal accountability. So like you have to be the hard-nosed evaluator of what you're doing, the steps that you're taking. You know, and that's not always easy, because being raw and honest with yourself in that way is a process. You know, it's tough. You know, and it's not a path, not something that everybody wants to do, I think. But yeah, I think that's an undervalued part of progress. Yeah, definitely. Straight up.
No, I feel it. All right. Well, another thing. So you read Rich Dad Poor Dad. What did you get like overall from that book?
Overall, it was mainly just like the mindset of how we think and how we program to think, and pretty much like think for yourself. And when I first read it, that's what I was getting. But then like when I put it down and then like somebody asked me about it, I'd be like, well, he was just talking about real estate. But it's like really, it didn't, like, it took me to like pick it back up, and it's like, no, I actually got way more than that. Just on his thinking and thinking for himself, and then like I think he's actually better than both of his dads, whatever, because he does have both lenses to look through. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's definitely imperative, just because it's all about the perspective. You know what I'm saying? So, so like, you know, he had those, what is it, like character within type of conversations where it's like, all right, well, I can assess the situation through this lens, and I can assess it through this lens, and now I'm about to put both of those together and come with this solution. You know what I'm saying? So that's dope. And that's pretty much what I got out of it. It's just, you know, to look at stuff from a different way, and if I didn't have this type of upbringing, would I still view it from this way? And that's how, like, I don't have a rich dad and a poor dad, so I just look at it like, all right, well, this is the man I want to be, and this is who I am. So how can I come, you know, and make the best solution for that? So
yeah, like I really fuck with this book, and personally, I feel like this book, I feel like you can't read this book and not get a different mindset from it.
Yeah, for sure.
That's all, and I feel like a lot of people have the certain mindset now. It's just it's the mindset of the poor dad. Is to go to school and you gotta work super hard and just hope that at the end of the day, you know, things work out.
Yeah, and well, the rich dad, well, it wasn't even just so much go to school, it was just to be in a system. You know what I'm saying? Which is
the poor dad.
I mean, the poor dad, it's just to be caught up in the system, which is like, all right, let's say you didn't go to school, but just to oh well, you didn't go to school, just get a good job with benefits.
Right,
Like, you know, so
right,
just
yeah.
caught up in that system.
Right,
you know what I'm
right.
saying? So, and it's like,
like a safety net.
yeah.
But that stuff don't really be safe because at any time a job can go bankrupt. They can let people go. People don't look at that option. They just think like if you go to school, everything's set, but it's not. So many people I know have degrees and they either don't have a job or they work into something that's not in their field or they built up a life and then got snatched away because the company went out of business, something like that. So, but no, you were about to say something.
No, that's there's a couple good things in there. I think the thing that really caught my attention at first was just that how you can find some information and how quick we are to dismiss shit. Like I do that shit all the time, and I'm just like starting to notice how many times I've missed information because I just looked at it, dismissed it, and thought I understood, but I really didn't.
Yeah.
And
Name an example.
Well, personally, I gotta rack my brain for that. But just using the example that Chris just gave when you recommend the book and people just say, it's just real estate. But real estate is just an example of
That he used.
the actual idea
Right.
behind it.
And that's what I like about him too, though, because he would say in certain parts where I don't recommend you do this. This is just an example.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, don't take me flipping this house as the Bible. You know what I'm saying? But take it as, okay, look, this is a marketing strategy. This is how I did it, and you can go about whatever product you're selling. Just go about it like A, B, and C.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So if you just take real estate or whatever, or you just take like the tip of the iceberg, for instance, then you like kind of close-minded and you miss the whole point. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's always deeper than the surface. You know,
Man, I've been just like, I think a lot of the growth that's been coming from me in this past couple years has been just trying to take an honest evaluation of myself and where I'm at.
that's real.
Because I'm really just getting to the point where I want a lot of these things. I want to be able to have a good ass time, like hanging out with my friends and not have to worry about getting to work the next day at a job that I don't necessarily want to spend all my time there with. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of, and I'm realizing to get to that next point, like you have to fucking make some real moves and sacrifice. Not necessarily sacrifice, but you gotta like change up the strategy. And I'm starting to understand that I didn't realize what happened at first. I was like, oh shit. But I'm starting to realize that there's we have this idea about what the process of success looks like, or the process of getting from point A to point B looks like, but that usually gets in the way of things because we look and say, all right, man, this is how I'm supposed to do it, and we do whatever we can to make that specific way work, but we lose sight of the goal. We change it, our goal becomes making this specific way work as opposed to getting to the actual destination. So, to give like a more concrete example,
Are you just saying basically be more open-minded about the path you can take?
yes.
Yeah.
But I feel like
Definitely agree.
the way it resonated with me, because I heard those things and I just I like bring different angles on like these things because I can hear something the same way, but
right. It didn't hit.
it didn't hit.
Yeah.
And then that's just easy to dismiss. But
Right.
like, and that's why like looping it back, when you lose, you're forced to make that assessment. But when you win, it's like,
Right.
Everything went
you're
right.
gonna tell me.
Like one of the best examples I can say is when I used to wrestle, we would go into the coach's room so he could go over our tape.
Yeah.
One thing people would do, they would shoot on me and they would take me down to the point where I'm sitting on my butt,
Yeah.
but then I would get up
Yeah.
and still wind up I'll take them down.
Right.
So my coach would say, he's like, watch, he's like, see, they shot on you. And then he was like, oh shit, well, you got up. So he couldn't fix it.
Yeah.
But to another person, he would say that was wrong.
Yeah.
So that's another way, like, if it's like, it's hard to correct something that's wrong if you're doing it right. Like Deontay Wilder, we was talking about him. He has a wild style, but he's 40-0.
Yeah.
Like, everybody's saying that the way he fights is wrong, but it's like,
It's winning.
Yeah,
Like,
it's like, how can you?
we get so used to looking at something
Right.
one way. So, for instance, like you could look at the Golden State Warriors. They came in and just fucked shit up.
Right.
They came in and it was like, no, we're just about to shoot a lot of threes.
Right.
And we're about to shoot our way, win or lose.
It used to be that saying, live and die by the three, but
Yeah.
they're just living by it.
Seriously. But like, that scared a lot of people away. If you look at the volume of threes that he just shoots, period, it's way more than like Ray Allen, Reggie Miller. They couldn't even compete numbers wise because Steph Curry and Clay are just shooting so much more. James Harden, they're shooting like 10, 13 threes a game.
Right.
And so it really comes down to a lot of it is breaking those assumptions that you really feel like you have, or like that's at least where I've seen a lot of success.
Yeah.
Like, I thought about going about it this way, but
Like, if you believe in a new way of doing things, do it.
Yeah.
Try that shit.
for
You
real.
know, I mean, like, fuck what everyone says. If you truly believe and you've done the analytics and you thought you obviously off rip you didn't just go for it, but you fucking like
Yeah.
you really
You did
put
your
the
homework.
work in to say like, oh no, it can work this way.
Right.
This is something that we can do.
That's how new shit
That-
is.
That go back to the quote though, like if you were afraid of failures, then you're afraid of success. Because it's like
Right.
if I get a thought to do something new, and it's like this could really make or break the new era, the new way of doing stuff.
Yeah.
But I never do it because I'm scared of doing it.
Yeah.
Right.
Or you
Like,
talk your
yeah.
way out of it.
Yeah.
And honestly, man, I've been thinking about this shit. I've been thinking about the law of attraction. You know how when you put energy out into the world and the universe speaks back to you and everything? I've assumed that it was always like woo woo, fucking like magic, like spiritual, like bullshit.
Right.
But I thought about it and I'm like, I just assumed that they meant fucking put it out into the world and like work a little bit, but then it's just gonna come
But that's
way.
kind of how they sell it.
That is true.
You know,
They sell it that way to
Yeah.
to the main
Right.
people.
To the tip of the iceberg.
Right.
I had to-
once you dwell on it and be
Yeah.
like, okay, there's more to it than that.
It's like Planet Fitness. They sell people the idea to jump, but
Right.
only a few people are actually going to go there and actually get results.
Exactly.
And
And
that's
that
what
you have to be consistent and
Right.
constant, right?
Right.
And so I was thinking about it, I'm like, that is actually pretty good advice because, like, the law of attraction. Because if I keep, the thing is that they miss is that you have to keep doing that.
Yeah, you got to do the work.
Because
that's the part
when
that's
I'm
left out.
putting, exactly, because when I'm putting shit out into the universe, Andre's putting shit out into the universe too. And Brian's putting shit out into the universe. And Chris is too. And sometimes, like, there might be somebody in fucking Portugal that's putting shit out into the universe that conflicts with what I'm putting out into the universe.
Right.
And if I only do that shit one time, and that person's doing it every fucking day, everybody that they meet, they're saying, this is what I'm about to be. This is what I'm about to do.
Right.
This is, like, my goal right here.
It's like sports. The Cavs put it out into the universe, and the Warriors put it out into the universe. Only one person can be.
But so that's an interesting thing, too.
Yeah.
Because I've been thinking a lot about I've been thinking, y'all. I've been thinking. But I've been thinking about the Cavs situation.
Real quick, Dre.
Fix that up.
I'm here,
little
I'm here.
filter, too.
I'm over it.
No, you're good.
Good enough?
I'll bet it up.
There
So
you
what
go.
you thinking?
Just want you to be clear, bro.
I got you.
Like, I'm still a LeBron stan. I think LeBron is
Ooh, my fault.
is the best. You don't fuck with LeBron?
No.
You fuck with LeBron?
You don't fuck with him? Like, you.
I feel like when I was in middle school, no, because I was a Kobe fan. But when I became an adult, then I love the game, and I'm like, yeah, he's a great player.
So I want to get a little bit more nuanced with this thing because I feel like our generation, we grew up with LeBron, so we see LeBron is clearly the most talented player to ever step on a basketball court.
That's debatable.
The most talented, and I think you're actually gonna appreciate this argument. But the most talented player in terms of like raw athletic gifts and just like the IQ and the brain of it. But I think the biggest part that we've been missing when we evaluate players that I think a lot of the old heads did, but they don't have a clear, like a really good way of articulating it because they just say 6 rings, 6 for 6.
Right.
It's not really like a good argument.
Yeah.
But like I'm starting to understand the reasoning and the rationale behind it. Is that it takes more than just being skillful there. Like you got to be able to, and you're in this shit right now. But we can all talk about this stuff just being at in different organizations, workplaces, school environments. That it's more than just being good at the thing. That being good at the thing is hard, but it's actually the easier part. The other part is being consistently good, being good at the right times, and making sure that the people around you that you need for success also are also their best when they need to be. So when I think about like Michael Jordan, when he figured it out, he figured it out. If he had to punch Steve Kerr in the face in practice to get him to hit that shot, he's doing it. If he needs to be cool with somebody else and meditate with somebody else, with Phil Jackson, he's doing that. When I look at game 1 of the Warriors Cavs, at the end of regulation, when you have a full overtime left, and I see the leader of the team, the most talented person in the fucking world, if not in history, pouting because somebody messed up, because that person wasn't even inserted into the game. He was just kind of walking around like a zombie. Yeah, you could blame that on JR, but the best player on the team never lets that happen. They make sure that person executes when they need to execute. And anything less than that is just an excuse to not win. And so when I'm looking at LeBron right now, I think that whole team is just like I think that there's something missing in his game. And I think the thing that's missing, not in his game, but in his personality, in terms of like the way he works with his teammates. People shrink in big moments when they're around him. He elevates, but the rest of the team shrinks. Yeah. And so I think he still has a lot of time, and when it's all said and done, he very well could be the GOAT. But I think right now he's the most talented player, but he's not MJ Kobe status. Personal opinion.
So just to play devil's advocate,
yes,
with this conversation. All right, first of all, you got to look at the teams that LeBron has taken so far, right? He's taken that first Cavs team back, that was like 08, I think.
That before team, that.
Was it before? Was it?
Well, I'm saying when he got to the finals before 08, didn't he?
I think so.
Oh, was that the first year?
I thought it was.
That was the first year.
Was it 07?
07, 08. Well, we all know the first time that he went there.
Right.
That team was ultra trash.
Yeah, it was like his best player was second player was like Mo Williams.
It wasn't super teams back then. It was a different day.
But Spurs was like his own super team because they was just great.
No, you still wouldn't have qualified that as a super team. That's why I wasn't.
But if you look at this team this year, how many people thought maybe the second round they'll come out? You know, we're not really sure if they're going to get to the finals, and then they get there, right? And by the way, this team that he beat with this Celtics team, when those kids grow up, that win in Game 7 at Boston is going to look really good on his resume. So let me put that there. But when we look at what he's done and how much, I don't want to give him an excuse for how he acted because I agree with you. But when you look at that team, right, he knows in his heart of hearts how he dragged this team, hitting game winners, gets all the way there, right? And you can't even, you have a player, and you're playing against one of the best, maybe the best team of all time. This team has 2 MVPs still in their prime, playing on the same team. And not to mention, so what?
I said they got Olympians on their team.
Yeah, man.
You know what I'm saying? Like it was LeBron versus USA.
But if you look at that team that he played, right, he knows in his heart like that this is his only shot. And then you have a player that can't even look at the damn clock. Yeah. Like, can you imagine the type of frustration that would give you?
But here's why don't you?
But I do agree with you though.
Right.
I do agree that you need to stay even keeled no matter what. But I also at the same time understand his frustration.
I don't not mess with LeBron I'm not just a hating ass nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like I give it to him like his stats, everything is up to par. It is. But just compare and contrast when we talk about Kobe and stuff like that, bro. Kobe would be mad, but it's like, man, he still his head is in the game. He rock with his players, like, you know, he share he
not the ball.
No, but that's a misconstrued opinion though, because you gotta, if you really watch those games back in the day, if I'm what's his name? I don't even know his name anymore, but Derek Fisher, whoever the point guard is on. But if I'm swinging him the ball, like I'm pushing the one, I'm coming up court, and I pass it to Kobe, and he does what Kobe does, the coach is telling you put the ball in Kobe's hands. He's going to attack. Why? Because he's the black mama. He's trained to do this. Okay. Everybody put it in his hands, so you got the opportunity to shoot the 3, but you like, hell no, because what you just say, in those big moments, people shrink, and he's going to elevate. So I'd rather you elevate because I don't want it to be on me. Somebody pass you the ball, and that's what it was.
This is the thing. When you watch LeBron play, you have people that look clueless, like JR did, and he's going to the NBA Finals, dog, and he doesn't give a fuck. Yeah. It seemed like he was just like out of it. When you play with Kobe, you know he's about to shoot it. You know what the game is. You're not standing around. The games get Kobe the ball if that's what the talent stack looks like. But everybody's on the exact same page. And that's what I'm saying. It's like,
but with Kobe, he had people. I feel like he had people on the same page.
That's what I'm saying.
It's only so much LeBron can do, and I get that. He's just a man, not the coach of LA. But I feel like
that's debatable.
It's you know, but it's still like those in practice moments and like, you know, the moments that aren't being televised. It's something that he's doing because he's building those rapport with those people that they trust this man. And I'm not gonna look clueless because I know it's crunch time. I know it's
I'm
gonna
liable to get hit in the face.
Yeah,
if
yeah,
that's
like
just
what you were
happening.
saying.
That's what it comes
You know what I'm
down
saying?
to.
And the thing is,
Yeah.
it's not just hitting people in the face, but it's the thing that makes people elevate their game.
Mm.
Everybody knows like there's something that makes you tip, that makes you jump to that next level. When you get like pissed, some people they play their best when they're focused and calm. Knowing that and how to get that out of people is very important.
Facts.
And if you can't do that, and people start like shrinking and just getting out of the way, sure you might be able to score a 40-point triple double, but like we already know that one person can't beat a team. So why do you keep trying to make that thing happen? One person will not score 120 points and beat a team, and that's what I'm saying about like
81 though.
huh? Might score 81, but they got that dub.
But are
So
we
that was-
really believing that if you put Kobe on that team that they're going to the
And
finals?
I don't think so either.
I think it's
Prime time
no.
Kobe?
What?
Prime time
I
Kobe?
don't think
I think if you put him on the team and you
Prime
have,
time
give him a
Kobe.
year to whip those people into shape,
Oh no.
You had Paul Gasol, you had Shaq, you know, like you had other stars. This year he had no other stars, zero.
Who?
LeBron.
And then you had Kevin Love.
Kevin Love, he's so inconsistent. It's
Yeah, but if
yeah,
Kevin
that's
Love
what
was
I'm
in his
saying. Though.
own,
He was a 25,
if he
like
was in the-
15,
yeah.
like 25 and 13 guy before he got there.
right,
And
if
then
he
when
was in his
got
own
there,
system, he would. He's
everybody goes there and talks about how LeBron. Everybody goes there and talks about how LeBron is so great and that they have to adjust their game to play with him. If you're the best player and you can do everything, you should be the one who can adjust to make sure that the team is always performing. You're the person you're the utility player. Basically, you can do anything. If we need you to get 50, we need you to get 50. If we need you to teach this person how to look at the game, and maybe this is all happening, but I'm just saying that it doesn't seem that there's that gear that MJ had, that Kobe had. Kobe tore his Achilles and played and went out there and like got
He
to
just
bucket.
shot his free-
LeBron had a broken hand.
Dog,
Yeah,
a torn Achilles?
He
Yeah.
played, bro.
Yo.
You can't walk on that shit, bro.
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean,
shit killed
I mean, that's
Achilles.
the difference
What
with
you
saying.
Detroit died because of that shit.
No, okay, this is the difference with saying he played and went to shoot free throws. Somebody could take that
Well,
and think
Achilles
he
died,
running up
man.
and down the court.
Have you heard
You
this?
talking
When he
about the
says
hero,
that,
nigga?
no,
Have you heard this? The
when
Iliad
he,
thing?
no, when he says play, I'm thinking he running up and down the court. He trying free
He
throws.
played with a broken finger.
Right.
All right, I fought with a broken foot.
Okay, but I'm saying you're
Yeah,
not
you can
LeBron
do it.
or you're not Kobe. But I'm just saying like we comparing these two
Like them
specific
two,
niggas.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We're not talking about it's millions of niggas in the world who did some miraculous shit.
Yeah, all I'm saying is that it was
He still did it. You
misconstrued.
can't take from it.
I'm not trying to take from him. I'm just saying when he said
He
he
played
played.
regulation though. Like he
And
No,
there's-
I'm just saying it sounds like he's running up and down the court when he says play.
That's real. I'll give him that. Right? He went out and finished shooting those free throws. If
yeah.
that shit makes you happy.
It does. It makes me be able to know what's going on. It's a bigger picture.
Man,
Those are just my thoughts on it.
I mean, that debate can go forever.
yeah,
You know, real talk.
What we got?
so moving on though.
You can read that?
No, not really. But I just I know we were supposed to talk
You
about
can't read that shit, man.
Donald
No,
Trump and shit and what's going on.
Trump.
Is this a surprise?
Nah, we might not even get to the surprise. I don't know, I don't know what time we on.
What we have?
Oh, I did bars. I didn't do seconds.
But,
How long is each bar?
Well, I don't know. I never tested that.
I don't even have my phone on me. I'm kind of lost on it. All right, but let's just
What time do we start approximately?
I couldn't tell you. I know it's 7 o'clock though.
Yeah.
Alright,
But
so y'all hear about this Space Force?
yeah.
You gotta talk about that, bro.
Okay.
You good. Just make sure it's like next to your face, like that.
Okay, like this.
Yeah.
Alright, so you know about the Space Force?
Yeah.
Alright,
I saw an article that Trump's been trying to start.
did you read it or you just read the title?
I read a little bit about it. How he was like, we need a space force. We needed to have like and he was like naming the shit off. He didn't like. I didn't read any details
Okay.
about it.
the future is
with,
now. That
with,
shit is
with the
scary.
stuff that's going on with immigration, I just saw that as the ultimate look this way, don't look this
Oh
way.
yeah.
So I didn't even look into it.
Oh,
It just
okay.
pissed me off.
That could be
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, I didn't even think about it like that. Well, actually, he just told me about it.
Yeah,
Never heard of it.
yeah, and I didn't read it because sometimes I read a title to an article and I'm like, damn, y'all see that shit?
So he got you, bro.
Yeah, I took it down there.
No, you did.
Probably not even a real thing.
Yeah, but I mean, it might. I don't know because
No,
he
he
said,
really is trying to push that shit.
yeah, but what's out there? That's the fucked up thing. It's like
Uh,
it's a military. That's what they're trying to put
He's
out
trying to
there.
have the space
Star
force.
Wars.
This
Duh.
is some
It's some shit out
the
there.
futuristic
That's what I'm
shit.
saying. I saw Star Trek a couple times. And
Dog,
that's
that's
all
where
I
we're
can
moving, man.
Yeah.
I think that we're about to accelerate. Actually, I don't think it's necessarily. I think the way he's doing it is obnoxious, and it's kind of like look here, and you know, while I fuck around over here.
Right.
But I do think that it's something we should start like considering as people because, dog, man, I'm
Why
telling
don't
you,
we have zombie protocol, bro?
because that's a lot
I
different.
feel like all that shit is fake.
Dog,
Yeah, I
we,
can't
That was a
imagine
joke,
zombies.
by the way. I'm not serious.
No, I'm saying like
I'm
Star
definitely not
Trek.
taking that seriously. People even think like this dude worries about zombies.
Yeah.
we
I'm
need
not
a
listening
zombie
to that
protocol.
Yeah.
But
No,
what you
no.
listening?
I just feel like he just on some pure bullshit. Like, you know, and it was like, you know, just with the whole thing with them separating kids from their parents or their families in general. It, I saw a lot of people, you know, writing on social media saying like, well, this is the president that y'all voted for. You know what I'm saying? So, in essence, I just wanted to ask y'all, do y'all think democracy in America exists?
You're gonna knock the table
I
up.
think Drake's slow. I'm not gonna lie.
You over here trying to swing for the fucking microphone, bro.
I thought the table. I thought this was moving closer, but apparently.
It was
just
yeah.
yanking up.
So what's your question?
But like, do y'all think democracy in America really exists, or is that like a pseudo type of red pill, blue pill thing they fed down our throats?
I mean, I think it's known that we're like an oligarchy. Aren't it?
What the fuck is that?
Like when a few people have their hands in behind making decisions.
I didn't know that was a known
Yeah,
thing.
and then who's the retard now? Anyway,
I didn't know that. I know what it is.
I don't think those cameras caught. Actually, this camera might have caught that shit.
Yeah.
That face was funny. He was like, "Who's the retard?"
but yeah, cause like you got all these like rich families like the Rothsteins and Rothschilds or whatever their names is.
Illuminati kid.
Yeah, so so people behind the scenes making decisions. So I think, I don't think we're a democracy. I think whoever has money is running the
So
country.
you
Right,
would agree
right,
that it's like a fake thing because they feed that down our throats.
Right.
Like, oh,
Yeah.
democracy this, democracy that. You have the right to vote, and,
Yeah,
and it's like, yeah,
I
sure you
think the
do.
president's a puppet.
But okay, so
That's interesting. What do you think, Brian?
I think that the more, unless we do something about the level of lobbying that's going on right now, unless we do something about it, then yeah, I mean we won't be a democracy anymore.
Right.
But I think we are right now still, and there has been a movement to push us to be more aware of the lobbying that's going on. You know, I think that one of the good things about social media is waking a lot of people up. The information is out there, and it's accessible, and you can definitely do different things to educate yourself, but not everybody is utilizing it properly. But I think in time that it will be inevitable. Everyone will be on Front Street, and we'll stay a democracy.
What? But we're not a full democracy though.
I feel
Like,
like we
they-
never was.
Huh?
I feel like we never were a democracy.
I don't know the history, so I can't say that.
Well,
But-
anytime that you have, enslaved human beings that aren't allowed to vote, then yeah, that's not a true democracy. So we really haven't been for very long.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Or ever.
So
That's what I'm saying. We never were a
But
democracy.
here's the thing. Like right now in 2018, we have there's a lot of things that we can do as a community or as minority communities that allow us to take advantage of the system and make it work in our favor. I think that hasn't been true. Like I was watching Remember the Titans the other day, and when they come back from that camp,
when you were in history class.
it just came on. I was at Jahi's, and like it just came on.
it's a good movie.
Huh? It's a good.
I've
ass
only
fucking
seen
movie.
it in school though.
that was like the go-to.
Yeah,
Definitely.
That's a good
Last
movie.
day of
It's
school
school
or
appropriate.
something, yeah.
It has a good message.
Yeah.
That and Freedom Riders.
Yeah, I've
So
never
it's-
seen Freedom Riders though.
What?
I always skip class from that. Peace. But no, I was watching that, and when they came back from the camp, and they had just merged the schools, my man's like the linebacker, the white linebacker that got in that accident.
Oh, yeah.
He was introducing his friend to his girl, and
She was mad as hell.
yeah, she was mad as hell. Like, think about that shit. He like smiled and reached out and like went to shake her hand. He's like, "Hey," I think it was Julius. He was like, "Hey, I'm Julius," and she was like shook her head and just walked away. And she was like, "You're making the wrong choice." Like that was some real shit around here. People were really blocked from moving through the world,
Right.
and I think right now this is a unique time because if we're smart about this, we're gonna take as much as we can from the people that aren't deserving of it, and by not deserving, I mean people that have just have just been entitled their whole time, and haven't really put any like hard work in. We're gonna be able to take advantage of some of these opportunities to start reclaiming, our share of the pie.
I don't agree.
And I think, well, go ahead.
Only because with those certain families who are in position to, really make the laws, whatever, it all come down to a money thing. Like over and over and over again throughout history, we've seen that the majority don't really mean shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Because, and that's, bro.
But, I don't think majority, though. What I'm talking about is, I think majority is, we can't worry about majority. Nobody's met the majority.
I thought you meant by, social media, if we keep...
No, but I mean even on a more micro level, on a more, interaction level, with us. I think, we need to keep doing what we do when we have crossovers, when we come and help each other out, and... that's the thing that we can only do to affect change. We keep looking outside to go and say, all right, what is somebody in Omaha doing to, corral the fucking Black Lives Matter group or whatever, right? I'm saying, we have a lot of opportunities every single fucking day.
Facts.
And we need to take those opportunities and make sure that we're, feeding into our communities. And eventually that stuff will start to, grow and snowball and grow.
Okay.
And so... I'm seeing this message starting to be promoted by a lot of big and wealthy people. You see Diddy talking about this shit. You see Jay-Z talking about this.
Okay.
You see even Kanye. They're not all buddy with each other, but they're still promoting this message because they're starting to realize that. And I'm listening and I'm like, honestly, man, if somebody does some racist shit, I could call that shit out today, and I know that I'm gonna get some backing. That's a good thing because we're starting to be aware of each other. Yeah. So now what's the next step? Let's actually plan this destination. This. Trip out, because if we set a destination for equality and fair treatment under the law and making sure that more people have access to opportunity and to create, then if that's the destination, we got to think about how we actually get there. Because if I say I want to get to Florida, I got to go and put in a GPS or something and find directions to actually on how to get there tactically. Because if I just say I'm just gonna end up there,
do you have any ideas of how you think we should tactically?
I think tactically that speaks to the first part is that I think we have every time you have an opportunity where somebody's hey, can you support me? I'm doing this one thing. You just have to go down your Instagram timeline. You'll see a lot of people there. You'll see people selfishly that are not selfishly but promo. You'll see people that have a podcast. And you see that they've been doing it for a lot of episodes, or that they put together a video like you guys do. That's work, and you guys are trying to deliver content to people. So all I'm saying is pressing play, saying all right. It actually speaks to what y'all do here, where you have people come that are starting their businesses, and they're coming on here to promote that shit. That's what I'm talking about. That stuff, it's not. You don't see it. We underestimate the effect of these things in the short term, and we underestimate the effect of these things in the short term, and what we need to do is start realizing the value and how this stuff plays out long term, and how we can really inspire change and do real dope things and big things when we kind of focus on the micro, what we can do in our own capacity, and understanding and trusting the process that if I put good out into the world and I consistently do that shit, eventually people are going to take notice and they're going to start saying, I want to be a part of that. I don't want to be a part of the person that
sits around
and then on top of that, all right, if it is an oligarchy, why do we keep looking to the oligarchy to solve our problems? Because we keep looking for government support, and I think government should protect life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness at the federal level. But we need to be on the federal level. Why do we keep looking to the federal government for this stuff? Because that's how these oligarchies start. But the design of the U.S. in the states was to have a united set of states that have different ups and downs and perks and all that stuff that are unique to their own areas, but allow enough variation for you to live a comfortable life. And so we keep giving these people that have you been to DC before? I've only been on a school trip and then one time when I was a kid. What about you?
Yeah, I've been a couple times.
All right, look, what about you?
I've been there, yeah.
All right, so a handful of people have been there a few times, and we're allocating all this power to people in this place that actually most people haven't even been before, to go and make decisions that affect us. When we have a state government or a city government right down the street. And so I'm just thinking, like, tactically, how do we do this stuff? It's supporting like you guys are, by having people come on and promote their things when you think that they're doing some good stuff. Because right now, 30 episodes, it doesn't necessarily seem as much, but you could just go back to Gary Vee and see, like, he started on the exact same space. And you start figuring things out, you start getting ideas like, what if we move the quote of the day up? And eventually you start getting better and better at the stuff where 10 years from now, you don't even have to wait that long. 5 years from now, the game changes and you're like, yo, we gotta fucking follow him. Like, we're doing some shit. But it's just, I think it's that consistently and that sustained effort to
That's real
pay
shit.
attention, you know what I'm saying? Will make that, will start to remove the dependency on that, like, monopoly or oligarchy that's centralized. I do, yeah. So I don't think it's necessarily a democracy, but I think we have a lot more opportunity to take advantage of the system and make it work in our favor, whoever it may be. And that doesn't just speak to, you know, like black people, but all minority communities, all people that feel like they're not getting what they need from the system. It's like, look in your network and try and meet some people that you can start gaining more information on how to change, you know, your current situation.
So what I'm hearing from you is education, right? I think that is, I mean, obviously that's the most important thing. But then what you're adding to I always believe that is education. That's where we need to start. We need to add. I think America in general needs to take ownership of its history. I think they downplay it. You know, it's not acknowledged enough. You know, so when you have majority of the education that you're being taught is that black people were only slaves, and you didn't really give them the full, true story of when they were kings, and they had universities in Africa and these things, and when you exclude a people that are just as involved in the country as white people,
right.
you know, you're excluding them. You're not, and there's a underlying resentment there. It's like, you're not including us. You know, you're not. There's other ethnicities in this country. You know. Christopher Columbus didn't discover America. There were already people here.
Yeah.
And that's really where, like, I feel like it's the compulsory education system is to deprive people of common sense. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, if you don't, like, you know, what you was taught for so long is that, all right, black people was only slaves. But what about before slavery? You know what I'm saying? But it's like, since that's not a test question, you don't ask that question. You don't be like, well, what was they doing before that? Obviously, they was doing something. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, but the education system isn't to make you think of what they was doing. It's like, all right, well, I want you to know Christopher Columbus' name. I want you to know 1492. I want you to know George Washington and so on and so on and so on, and Jim Crow, and you know what I'm saying? But I'm not having you think about, because if I have you think about, oh, well, damn, we had, and not even in Africa over here, we had our own
here too,
stuff
right?
over here. Like the farms and stuff over here was black people for real, you know, or Native Americans and everything like that. But it's like, if you don't think about that, you know what I'm saying, you're not gonna ask that. So it's like, all right, well, I'm gonna just go through with all this stuff what they teaching us. And in my opinion, it's indoctrination. So when we say education, I feel like education is important, but real education is important.
Of course.
And like another thing too is like, education has been sold to us where it's like they just teach us a whole bunch of answers and we're supposed to memorize those answers.
Right.
It took a while for me to realize that if you really want to start understanding what's going on, you got to start asking questions. You know what I mean? Like, you got to start, like, you got to be curious, and that, you know, doesn't always necessarily line up in the best with the best outcomes for like an individual. Yeah, exactly, for the individual. But on a grander scale, once you know this shit, it's like, that shit sucks, but now I know it, I can do something with that information. And so
you gotta be able to apply it, because one thing to have knowledge, but if you can't apply it, then knowledge is pointless.
Exactly. Exactly. I had what was that? It was I wrote down this fucking saying, and it's it's on my phone over there, which is recorded, so I don't have it off rip, but it was
Just.
But what I wanted to add is, if you,
go ahead. I was gonna say, it's the ignorant man. The ignorant man acts. The knowledgeable man considers, and the wise man acts with consideration. I think that as minorities, we have a gift of consideration. When you have to defer to a lot of people, just historically, because of your life, when you have your parents saying, you know, don't be out too late because, you know, like, what happens, or don't talk to this person this way because they don't like that, or this goes for women, this goes for men, this goes for anybody that's kind of marginalized by like mainstream America, and you have to consider those opinions. And then you can act with that consideration. You start seeing things different because you take more things into account. And you start asking questions that start shaping your behavior in ways that you don't really understand. When you walk into a room and you say, all right, this person like might look a little racist, and I can tell by X, Y, and Z because, like, yeah, you might call that prejudice, but I don't think prejudice is bad in and of itself. It's when you act in a way that harms somebody else. That's when I think it becomes bad. But we all prejudge. We all look at a situation and say, all right, what am I working with here?
Right.
But when we can go in there and say, all right, this person's from this background, this person's from this background, this normally sets this person off, this normally has, just because we've had to do that, that is a really, like, useful skill. Because when you go into new situations, you can start getting right down to the things that matter, because you can understand the outcomes more accurately, because you've seen how these things play out, because you've been paying attention for a lifetime. So I forgot what that point was about.
No, I got you though.
No, that's very relevant to I feel like the attitude of America right now. Definitely.
But like, well, to piggyback off, we're talking about Donald Trump and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Did y'all see the jacket that his wife wore?
The what?
The jacket that his wife wore?
Yeah, I saw it.
You saw it?
What
It said, I really don't care. Do you?
he said, I really don't care, do you?
Yeah. That's fucked up, man.
Yeah, but the thing is, I don't expect them to care, and I'm not acting on the basis of them caring. It
But
is fucked up.
No, but I'm saying, like, as the first lady though, like that's like, I'm saying, like, bro. I mean, I get it. Like we in America, we're so spoiled and we so self-centered. So we, like, as a whole, people say, well, if it's not my family, then fuck it. And I mean, that's fucked up, but I get it. But for you to be the first lady though, you know what I'm saying? You going, like, the pressure's on you. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you so insensitive that
That's
you don't
real.
give a
Like,
fuck.
let me rephrase it. I think that it is absolutely fucked up. Like, if I'm looking at that shit and I like see it, I'm saying that's not cool. That's the representation of America right now.
Yeah.
But if I'm trying to turn actionable now, then I'm like, all right, well, that's not, like, that can't factor too close to a decision, because, like, on the way I act.
No,
because,
facts.
you know, because just directly, or like I can't not even affect like the way I act, because I think it does have a direct effect on the way I act, and the way I'd advise like my friends and all that stuff to act. But in that sense,
I think I'm hearing what you're saying is when I don't want to say it's completely expected.
Yeah.
You know, like we've seen this before. Like this isn't new. You know, so it's like you look at from that perspective. It's not a shocker, really.
Yeah. And honestly, like, to that, it's like, it's not a shocker. We have one fucking life, and we're really not sure, like, if we have this exact experience again. I want to make sure that when I leave, I don't sit on my deathbed like, damn, man, I was so fucking pissed at Melania Trump because she wore some
That's how you say her name?
Huh? Yeah.
I never know.
But like,
What you
it's
call
like,
her? Like Malenkovich or something like that?
but like, I just don't want to be like, I don't want to like look back and say I dwelled on that thing for too long. I think it deserves its, time for calling it out and saying that's some bullshit and we don't fuck with that and we're gonna let you know that shit. But I don't need to be bringing that let that take me away from my work or like take my mental space. That's what I think they're really good at doing, is fucking occupying your fucking mental capacity. So you don't have, like, we have a limited amount of energy every day. That's why we have to fucking sleep and recharge. And so if I'm wasting that energy fucking on Melania Trump, like, after the appropriate, bullshit call outs,
I feel like you should look at it as a reminder.
Yeah,
like, oh,
exactly.
yeah, that's just still going on. Okay.
Yeah.
And just go about your day, remember it, and keep going.
I miss those days when people would take one for the team and actually assassinate the president.
You said you missed those days.
I am not co-signing that.
There's only been like two.
I'm gonna be the one to say it.
There's been like 2 assassinations.
That you know of.
What?
Yeah, we're about to go to jail.
We're not going to
we're
jail.
Hey, this
accomplices
First
now.
Amendment, baby.
Yeah,
Freedom of speech.
That's
That's
all I'm
true.
saying. Just-
Actually, I
He's
think
just an asshole.
I don't think
bro.
you're allowed to
That's
say
just-
that though.
What?
Like you're not allowed to like imply assassination.
Well, not. Well,
You
old
did it,
girl.
I
held
said I
up
missed
his
those
head.
days. bro.
Oh,
Okay.
Kathy Griffin.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
She got like ostracized for a second, but now she's like getting back on her feet. Like she
that's how
lost
the world
like
is.
her deals, like a couple of deals.
Well, I don't have bills, so I'm gonna be.
Well, you can be prevented from getting deals.
I won't be prevented.
You'll get a job and then be like, oh,
But like,
see
why do
this?
you
Like,
feel that way?
Fuck-
What do you
fuck him.
why do you feel that way?
Man, fuck down. He's just an asshole. It's just like I feel like rich white people put him there, and it's like he's saying the stuff that they all agree with. And bro, people like as I don't care what country you from, where you at in this world, you have human rights. You have the right to be with your family. You got a right to occupy whatever space the fuck you want to live at. Like I don't care if you don't have citizenship in America. You can't just say, oh yeah, we'll leave. Like
what if somebody just walked up into your house and was like,
that's different.
no, it's not because
That
that's
is
actually a law. People can like
No, I get
people
it.
can squat.
I get
and,
that.
like,
I'm from
live in
Detroit.
your
Like
house.
people, we had, bro, like literally some neighbors that I know by name were squatters.
Yeah. So
You feel
how
me?
do you feel about that?
I mean, shit. You not bothering me? Nobody dying from this?
In your house?
Bro, you said in my house. I'm
Yeah.
saying no. You
No,
can't.
yeah, I'm talking about your house.
If my house is occupied, you cannot come in my house. It's
Well,
like it has to be
if
under
you
30
was-
days. If it's not occupied, then that's what.
But
it
you,
is.
if you come back, you can't kick them out if it's like the winter time.
I get it.
So
But,
I'm saying, I'm asking you
but
how
I'm
you-
saying,
how
like,
you
bro,
feel.
but I'm not greedy to the point where it's like, dog, like, if you fucked up enough, you got to squat in somebody's house, and I'm good enough that I got a summer house and a vacation house and all that shit, then it's like, bro, I mean, I'm not about to just be like, yeah, you can stay here for free, but you fucked up, bro. Like, you on some, you got to be to the lowest of lows that you have to go in somebody's house and just live in that bitch. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, think of the headspace you got to be in there. So, but if I'm well off and you not endangering me, I'll probably be like, bro, you good. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that we would have to work out a contract and all that stuff. So, you know, I'm about to like, you know, just strip my whole crib, all my copper and shit like that. But like, I'm not a dick, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? I want everybody to be good. I want you to be straight. I want you, and then I'm pretty sure all the houses that I seen people squat in is always 2 to 3, 5. You know what I'm saying? It's never just one person. It's like literally a family. So if you fucked up with your family, and I just come home and it's like, oh yeah, well, some assholes just in my summer house. Blah blah, like damn, where's your heart at? You know what I'm saying? That's just where my whole thing with Donald Trump. Like I have no sympathy, no empathy for this man. I have no respect for him. Like I don't care how rich you are, bro. Where's your heart at as a human? You feel me? And that's where the disconnect is with him. It's just like, bro, like how could you be so insensitive to people? Like, bro, I wasn't separated from my mama as a kid. You know what I'm saying? But I can just imagine what these like kids is going through that. You in your head, you like, dog, I would never see my mom again. You 7, 8, not like, bro, like that's fucked up, bro. Like I got lost at Kennywood in Pittsburgh before, and I'm boo-hooing. You feel me? Thinking like, yo, this is. I'm a kid. I'm at an amusement park, and it's like, dog, I don't know where my people at. But these kids is in a government facility, and the government actually separated them, and it's like this is their real day-to-day life. I couldn't fathom that, bro. Like you know what I'm saying? But the people who actually signing those they vetoing the laws to say that this is okay. Fuck all them, bro. Like that shit fucked up, honestly.
That's real. I mean, like when I know like that shit's rough. Like and it's tough. But I'm interested to hear what you were what you were about to say because you said that you're like it was the same. You were about to give like an example or something like that about like
I
the
think
trespassing.
about the squatting.
About the,
Yeah, I said
do you have anything more on that?
No.
All right. I was like, because the thing that's tricky about this whole thing is that's fucking terrible. I've been through the whole immigration process, and that shit's fucking. My family went through that shit for like 10 plus years, just to fucking get permanent residency in America. Like it's a long fucking process, and when you go through it, like I have a lot of people, like I know a lot of people that are on all sides of this issue. That people that I've had people that have gone through that whole deportation process that have had to. I know kids that have had to pick up and go back to like Africa because they just didn't have like their parents got taken out of here and their parents were like, yo, like we need to like get out of here and like if I'm leaving, like you're coming with me. And it's like you got so like that shit really does happen. Having been on the side where we went through every single process. We went through like the whole H-1B visa and then got the green card. It's like there's definitely areas that we can switch this stuff up, but you have to draw a line somewhere. And so I think that the way this shit has been going down has been way too fucking like it's like a show right now the way they're doing it with the Trump administration. Because the thing is like President Obama did the same stuff. But there's like a disrespect that comes with the way the Trump Association is doing stuff that I don't fuck with. Because I realize that, yeah, you can't just have open borders because then you don't have any type of like, not that you don't have any type of country, but it's hard to keep people safe. You are risking American safety if you just have people coming in and out, and if they can make an exception because they have a kid here. People come here just to have kids because they know they're not going to get kicked out, and that hasn't been the situation in the past. Like, if you have a kid here, you're probably going to be able to stay around here. So people will be coming in the country with that, and so that's an open border. And so we have to really ask ourselves: do we want to make that trade-off? I've like run through my head, and from what I know about the situation, I think that it has to be looked at where you can make an exception, because that's just not cool. Having people, like, families ripped apart. But I think that us on the side for more open, not more open borders, but more like easier immigration, we have to like really consider that, like we can't just let everybody in, but we do, something needs to be done. So I'm just like saying, while we do want to condemn Trump for this, rightfully so, in making that action, we also got to go back and look, all right, what's our solution so we have a long-term fix for this? And so, I don't know, that's just, I want to put that out there.
Man, the indigenous people should have never let nobody come in from the beginning.
They tried.
You said what?
No, they didn't.
When they let them in with open arms.
Yeah.
You said who?
I said the indigenous people should have just never let
You
nobody
saying Native Americans? You're saying
the indigenous people. Okay.
The indigenous people should not let. I mean, you know, because in essence, it's like, bro, everybody people, and I feel like that's what tip they was on. Like, y'all people, y'all trying to come over here a bit. You know, we can all get along.
But
Then they got snaked.
Wait, so what side are you on? Because the example you just gave.
I said fuck Donald Trump.
I know, but I'm
I
saying,
didn't say that.
but the thing you just said is letting people in. It sounds like you're like against open borders.
No, it doesn't.
No, he was being like sarcastic.
I'm
Like,
saying,
we should have just let. Yeah.
Well, he said we shouldn't have just let.
Right, you can't.
No, it was being sarcastic, bro. Because I'm saying, if he's saying that this is a border at the end of the day, like, what the fuck is a border? You feel me? Like, we are the only people, mammals on Earth who created borders and limitations. Bro.
No, I feel you. Like that's
not a real thing, bro. Like,
that's
we created.
Yeah, but we're also so much higher intelligently than any other animal.
You're
We can
absolutely
create
right.
something
But
different.
I'm saying, but if you
I don't think that's a good excuse to say anything.
It is, bro. Like,
No, it's not, because we are on such a higher level than any other animal.
But look at all the animals in the
them.
world, bro. If they coexist, and it's no, I'm not going over
They
here.
kill each other. Though.
I mean, they do, but it's still like, bro, if it's still like you can live here. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if a lion leaves where he's at to go kill a fucking gazelle or whatever the fuck it is, it's not. Lions are prohibited here.
No, I don't.
No,
That's
but
not.
they will go into like sanctuaries and parks and like just kill, or like allow hunters to go in there and kill animals to control the population. Like, they'll go in. We lock up zoos, or we lock up animals in shelters, zoos, different areas to protect us from them. Like, if we have bears just walking around here, people said, all right, man, we got to make sure that we don't have just bears around here, because people die when that shit happens. Now, here's the thing. That shit doesn't have to be, my point is, like, we don't have to fucking be ridiculous about this shit and make it like it's a fucking show. And that's why, like, when you look at the Trump administration, he's going out there taunting people like we're about to build a fucking wall. Like, that's the shit that irritates the fuck out of me. Because it's like, I understand immigration. I've gone through the fucking process. And I understand that it's tough, and I don't like seeing somebody just hop into the country when they haven't gone through the process. But I also realize, like, I'm not going to be a fucking asshole about this shit and advocate fucking separating kids from their... Like, there's different ways to approach the situation. Maybe it's like, all right, well, we have people in here. Maybe we get tighter on the borders and come up with a new way to make more merit-based immigration or whatever, right? But I'm just saying, like, the thing that we have to do, because it's the right thing to do, is realize that the situation is messed up right now and come up with real answers. Not just be mad about it, but come up with real answers about, like, what we think could move this thing forward. Because at the end of the day, the situation is not going to go away.
And that's what they're trying to do. It's just Democrats and Republicans, neither side wants to compromise at all. And it's kind of expected for this to be a tough issue between these two sides, because of the way they stand for things.
Yeah.
But it's more so than anything, it's how they're dealing with this time where no one can agree. You know, you can't have kids laying and having, you know, tin foil as their blankets. You can't be separating them and putting them in cages. You can't have that shit. You know, you have to sustain your humanity and do things in a humane way. That's where the rah rah rah, build the wall, screw immigrants attitude causes a problem, because the moment that you start looking at other human beings and dehumanizing them is the biggest problem, where you look at them and you say, all right, well, you're creating a supremacist attitude, right? Yeah. And that is where this division can go really, really south. Yeah. So we need to continue to be aware of that and become humane, because that's when things start getting a little shaky and saying, and start having that's where you get the Hitler comparisons, and you get things, these dictators, they say, you're like this, you're like that. Then America loses its credibility. Because if you talk to other immigrants, which I have, when they talk about how they look at America, how they used to look at America, I want to come here, I want to contribute, you have a great opportunity to come here, I want to be a part of that. Now, people are looking at Germany, which is extremely progressive now, ironically. Now they're saying, well, maybe we should go there instead. Maybe I'll be more comfortable there. I don't really want to deal with, the racism. I don't really know what laws are coming. These white nationalists do make me scared. And visual, we've talked about being visual creatures before. And if they see these things on the news, it pushes them away, and our country suffers.
Yeah, people are paying attention to that shit, and that's why it's like, to Chris's point, you can't just fucking, like, the way they're handling this shit is just fucking bad.
Yeah,
like it's just a bad look. People take notice. You had China also on that bandwagon where they're like, yo, we're gonna take talent. We're about to continue moving forward if you want to work. But here we're saying, like, we don't even want your work.
Yeah, they just raised the taxes on them, which is like, why? Like, for 25%? Like, and then the worst thing about that is because like, one thing I created a website where basically I get the products from China, and then drop ship them to wherever I need when people order it. But if they raising the taxes over China, that's like creating a whole, like, a lot of things are made in China. Yeah. So I mean, that's just like destroying the whole market.
You're making it more expensive for people here to do it.
Right. Yeah, and they're doing something over in Canada. You just raise taxes, and it's gonna like prevent them from wanting to send stuff over.
And they're mad about that stuff. Like, the big part about, like, and this is the biggest thing that he's missing, is that part of it is getting results. It's kind of the theme of this whole thing. Part of it is getting results. Another part is making sure that that's what politics is. That's why we hear the word politics in every fucking situation. Is that part of it is making sure everybody's happy and the relationship is good. That, because they will come back to bite you in the ass. Right. You can go around under the guise of, we're securing our borders and we're locking people up, but it's way more nuanced than that. You listen to so people like to default and say Obama did the same thing, and I think I did that earlier, but to provide more clarity, I mean that Obama did the same thing in terms of trying to secure the borders, but he was a lot better at making sure that he was very clear what he was doing, why he was doing it, and what the long-term game plan was. Right. It wasn't just build the fucking wall and it's going to be a big-ass brown shiny door that will let people come through, but it's about to be, it's not like that. It was more nuanced. You could tell he thought a lot about it, and you could tell that he wasn't just trying to get like a jump and a clap. He was like, no, we have to fucking fix this problem. And that's the biggest thing, that you can get results, but the thing is after Trump's terms, you're still left with pissed off people. And they're going to just a lot of people just look at America and it's everybody's America. It doesn't matter. I don't care who Andre or Chris is or Brian or Tendo. It's everybody from that country. I'm going to treat the exact same, because that's all I really know and that's all I see on TV and in the media. So when you tell people that, like, immigrants from Africa come from shithole countries and you don't take time to get nuance with that, or you separate families from their borders and you say they're all murderers and rapists, people remember that shit. And even though you get short-term results, it's not just about results. Just because you get looping all this shit back in, a 40 fucking point triple-double, it's not about that. The thing is about fixing the problem and making sure that people are on the same page. I think the key fucking thing about the Trump administration is keeping people disorganized and on different pages and on different accounts. So that way, while they will do some positive things to keep the bare minimum people happy, they're gonna make sure that the fucking office works for their pockets. Period.
I feel it. Shoot, what time you got?
Yeah.
We've been rolling.
Seven.
We've been
Yeah,
rolling.
yeah, we've been
Hold on a second.
Yeah, RP, my man's Triple X.
yeah.
That's what it is.
Hey, people say compare this dude to Tupac.
People
Pause.
compare everybody to
Come on,
everybody.
Yeah,
People do
but
a lot.
I mean,
Don't get it twisted. That's very it's really sad. And he, he was up and coming. But
Tupac comparison is reaching.
Yeah.
I think that's an overreach actually.
yeah.
your phone died.
Nah, it stopped recording. It locked.
I didn't know if that was gonna happen. I was kind of thinking about
Mine's
it.
still recording.
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
For sure. Let me see. Yeah.
But
But yeah, RP Triple X, man, that's messed up. What happened to him?
Especially because he was like trying to make changes, man.
wait, did stop?
It just stopped for a second. I didn't hear your thing on Triple X.
Oh yeah, just RP Triple X, man. He was a young kid, bro. Like I don't want to see nobody gunned down, man.
Yeah.
I just like to share positivity and love.
Yeah.
And I seen this interesting post that was saying like if Malcolm X died when he was 20, he wouldn't have been the man that we know today.
Right.
So like I saw a lot of people, like ignorant people saying like
Oh, you can't
he
compare him.
deserved. No, not even that. They're saying he deserved it. Like no, don't rest in peace. Him, like fuck, like and it's just like yo, he was a person, bro.
Right,
like
right.
you know what I'm saying. So I don't care what he did.
We're
As
very
long-
desensitized as
yeah,
a whole.
and that's fucked up though. Like as long I saw this one post and it was interesting saying, as long as you got your heart beating, you still got a chance to get it right.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
That's
it's like
true.
I don't care if he was
Straight up.
20. Like bro, I did some fucked up shit at 18, 16. You know what I'm saying? Like bro, but I'm not that kid no more. I
Right.
evolved as a person.
Right.
But if the story was over at that time, then yeah, I would have been like, damn, that's fucked up. We don't know what this man would have done.
Absolutely.
It's like,
And honestly, like I like the way you say that. Like I like the way you put that about this is a real person. This is a person with a real life. If your man's died, even though he wasn't perfect, you'd be fucking fucked up about it.
Right.
If you got mad at every person that wasn't perfect, and you didn't ever, you didn't get upset when they died for then you wouldn't be upset ever.
And you know what's kind of crazy, man? We've been knocking school, but if I go back and we go back over like the lesson plans that we had about fucking not succumbing to peer pressure, thinking for yourself, treating other people. Pythagorean theorem. No, but like treating others how you want to be treated.
I don't think I learned that in school though, bro.
Treating others how they want to be treated.
I went to
It was
Except 10th grade, and I remember in 10th grade I was in 11th.
Yeah.
When we had that 1 week when that dude came and it was like, tell somebody you love them. Like, you remember that dude?
Yeah.
But other than that, and that's because somebody like suicide was at an all-time high and stuff like that. And it was, but other than that, bro,
I've had a little
I was cool
assembly. I had a little assemblies like that in
So,
elementary.
you already know it's treat everybody how you want to be treated.
oh, word. But I feel like those are essential values that should be taught.
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
But in most education, like, oh no, they're not teaching niggas that.
And really, that's just an empathy thing, where it was where you're saying like these are real people, because today's day and age, you see a headline and you have a funny punchline that you can kick off, but you got to think about fucking that person's mom.
That's what I think, bro.
Yeah,
honestly,
man.
like when I it was a video. Man, I instantly said a prayer, bro. Like, man, God bless this man, family, bro. I don't give a fuck what he did in life. He was gunned down. He was in the
loss
street.
is a loss, dog.
Yeah, bro. It's like, dog, for your mama to like, bro. I don't care if me personally, I can be the most fucked up person in the world. My mama gonna be behind my corner.
Yeah, straight up.
So if I'm dead, she going through it. Like, fuck what everybody else said. Like,
No,
nigga,
some
son.
people's lives never bounce back after shit like that.
Bro,
like that's real shit. Like I don't know, man. I've just been, especially just getting older, and like if you take just 2 minutes to really just imagine like what that person's life is like now that's happened. It's just like it's some real shit, and I don't know. I appreciate every time people talk about that shit where they're like, nah, think about this other person. Like really think about that shit, because we've been, like you said, Andre, so desensitized by the fucking keyboard.
It changes your whole world. I think that ties into what we were going to talk about in our next podcast. It's called Crisis of Faith.
Yeah.
You know, I think traumatic things happen to people, and I don't want to say but some people don't really become the same person afterwards. You know, they really never go back to that person. Sometimes that happens, and their whole world gets shaken up during a traumatic event.
Really, like honestly, off of that shit, like what you just said, is being able to like deal with that shit when you see it. Like, we have to get out of here. Like seconds, but like to the last point that I want to make is that being able to deal with that stuff, everything is practice. You know, everything is a trial and error thing.
True.
And so when you look at these big events, all the little things that you do day in and day out should be preparing you to deal with these situations. So like what you just said, where yeah, we learn about this stuff, but we learn more about the Pythagorean theorem. There needs to be more emphasis put on the other shit. That should be daily stuff.
Right.
How to deal with failure, how to deal with adversity, how to deal with loss, how to network, how to communicate effectively. And then I feel like I'm willing to take a bet. If you had a school that spent 90% of the time dealing with that shit and 10% of the time dealing with the actual hard skills, math and all this other stuff, you'd have a way more smarter and effective group because
no school shootings too.
Exactly. And then you'd also have people that would be like, man, I really don't understand this shit, but because you know how to fucking deal with shit that you don't know, not be embarrassed, not feel stupid, know that that's actually an opportunity to learn and how to communicate that effectively. That's the hard part, and that's why things are hard to get started and get into. If you learn that shit more day in and day out, the other stuff becomes way easier because then you actually enjoy going in there. You know how to fucking deal with situations when you don't understand them. So, closing words. Those are my closing words. Yeah, I'm not dismissing like the podcast.
No. I mean, well, shoot. I mean, it's late. I mean, not really, but it is.
It's past my bedtime.
Thanks for having us on, man.
Yeah, no, it was a good
real
episode.
dope.
It's probably our longest episode. That was
You know how we talk, bro.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling him about. When two podcasts get together, it's gonna be a conversation.
We just talk.
So that was the episode, First Amendment Podcast. Let them know again where y'all can find them at.
www.thechopup.io, or you can find us on Instagram @_thechopup. We have a Facebook page, but we don't keep that shit up. And if you go to
I didn't even know we had a Facebook page.
I didn't come to the Instagram.
You know you can connect it. You post them on Instagram and go to your Facebook page.
Yeah, we need to do that shit.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
New. But catch if you go to thechopup.io, you can find all of our shit and all of our links from there. So you'll be able to like, share, subscribe. But yeah, drop by and give us a listen, and thanks for having us on.
All right, absolutely.
All right,
appreciate it.
All right,
Peace.
That shit was some fire. That shit was some fire.
That was fun, man.
I don't know how you guys normally do your podcast, but I